These are the latter days.
In the coming day, Jesus Christ will return to the earth as the millennial Messiah, or the second coming.
The mandate given by the First Presidency and the presiding bishopric is to only focus on financial growth. EPA employees are told that the money will be used after the second coming of Jesus Christ or during Armageddon right before he would come again.
To develop enduring faith and enduring commitment to be a full tithe payer is essential. Initially, it takes faith to tithe. Then the tithe payer develops more faith to the point that tithing becomes a precious privilege. Tithing is an ancient law from God. He made a promise to his children that he would open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Not only that, tithing will keep your name enrolled among the people of God and protect you in the day of vengeance and burning.
Travis Wingate, so late start with the forced upgrade for the system by Microsoft. So if I'm having problems, that will be why. It's a malware virus every time they upgrade. So, see, I connect that to the internet. Never need to upgrade it. Runs exactly the same every single time I turn it on. Does what I tell it to do. Why? Mosiah, chapter 29. We'll start in verse 21. Now behold, I say unto you, you cannot dethrone an iniquitous king, save it be through much contention and the shedding of much blood. For behold, he has his friends in iniquity, and he keepeth his guards about him, and he teareth up the laws of those who have reigned in righteousness before him. And he trampleth under his feet the commandments of God. And he enacteth laws, and he sendeth them forth among his people, yea, laws after the manner of his own wickedness. And whosoever doth not obey his laws, he causeth to be destroyed. And whosoever doth rebel against him, he will send his armies against them to war. And if he can, he will destroy them. And thus an unrighteous king doth pervert the ways of all righteousness. This is Trump Ice 2025 playlist video for the 17th of March, 2025. When watching movies, listening to music, they give you precepts. And Matthew chapter 7, verse 15 tells you how to test to find out if those precepts are true or false. And if you don't run the test, you are easily susceptible to believing whatever feels right, whether it's that beaten tone, or whether it's that cute girl with the blue eyes batting furiously throughout the movie, that will lure you in and get you to do whatever they want you to do. And thus you get brainwashed and hypnotized by them. And as long as what they're asking you to do in the movie or video that you are believing and agreeing to is not going to cause you or other people harm, then there is no harm. No blood, no foul. But unfortunately, there are a lot of stuff out there from numerous people, and thus there are a high percentage of those who tell you to do the Tide Pod Challenge and other such harmful activities, making you a jackass. And as much as it's funny when it's entertainment, when you try to implement it in real life, yeah, it'll ruin your life and ruin the lives of others. And so the best way to avoid being brainwashed and hypnotized by Hollywood entertainment is to learn the truth and run the Bible test. It would be great if your parents taught you so that you don't have to do it in your old age of 20-something. But nonetheless. And so for a king, it's not just a matter of opinion as to whether or not you as a king are being righteous or unrighteous. There are likewise eternal laws of righteousness because of the consequences that come from doing good versus the consequences of doing bad. It's a real simple test, and it has to do with agency, giving life, liberty, and property to your followers. And if you do that, they will love you. If you don't do that, then you're going to be forced to have guards around you, only put your friends in positions of trust, and destroy people who protest. Or wage war, or rebellion, or coup. And so it's been well understood that one person's terrorist is another person's freedom fighter. Not quite. It depends on who's the causation. The cause is the terrorist. The defender is the freedom fighter. That's how you know. And so, as many millennia have gone by on Earth, when we focus on the modern time and neglect the historical origins of what led to the modern time, that's where we get confused as to who's the terrorist and who's the freedom fighter. I can just say Islam versus Israel, for example. Everybody has their opinions. The majority of you choose Islam. But if you were to have a knowledge of the full history of both, you would see that it is Israel that are the victims. And so, yes, if you're an Islam supporter, you don't like that. But there are consequences. If you're good, consequences will follow. If you're bad, consequences will follow. And when you're bad and you do things, you have to do these other things to make sure that you're protected. You are constantly on guard. You can't trust anybody when you're bad. And so, this is where our politics come in. Is Trump, the good guy, trying to fight the deep state, as he says, or is he using victim blaming to justify tearing up the Constitution, destroying the laws, violating the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints commandments that everybody must obey? Obviously not, because that would be taking away agency, wouldn't it, Mormons? And so, it's simple. Run the test. Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 15. Is Trump, who was inaugurated and swore an oath to obey the Constitution of the United States of America, following the Constitution? You might need to read this rather than just spouting off your opinion. For example, 14th Amendment, Section 3. Is Trump following that? No, he's not, is he? Because he committed a coup in 2021. And so he and all of his co-conspirators are disqualified from holding office. So what the bleeping hell are they still doing in office? Why is he allowed to run for president? Why did all of his lawsuits get dropped? So what is Trump? He's a wicked king. Plain, pure, and precious, if you believe the Book of Mormon. And you've been running the Bible test. It's also in the Book of Mormon, Alma, chapter 32, starting in verse 28. It has nothing to do with spiritual witness feelings. You took out manifest the truth, Mormons, to go contrary to the Bible and the rest of the Book of Mormon. And Joseph Smith. God. You cannot pick and choose what you want to believe. There are consequences, Mormons. Consequences. And so, likewise, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Are they following the Book of Mormon? The living prophets of Jesus, are they following the Book of Mormon? Are they following the founder, Joseph Smith? Don't use your spiritual witness feelings. Use the texts. Did Brigham Young follow Section 107, verse 22? If he did, then we have a potential for a true prophet, because he followed the proper succession process. If he didn't, he's a false prophet. And therefore everything that comes from him, including all successors, are false prophets. Run the test. Did he follow Joseph Smith, or did he make up his own laws? This is not complicated, Mormons. Do not use current, modern traditions and practices. Go back in history to the origins. Oops. So, knowing that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the great and abominable Church of Lucifer, baby name meaning Russell Marion. See how we can easily conclude now, knowing which seed it is. Everything they say, everything they do, it's a sin. Pet Shop Boys with Ghost, that also does a cover band of it. That is entertainment. So yes, the song is about them being told that everything they do, everything they say is a sin. And that's what's threatening to destroy their morality, their morals, their morale. And they're trying to rebel, to say, no, leave us alone. Stop it. Do not take away our agency. And so, Metallica, oh yeah, very religious people. Nice, clean-cut young man. Well, at least after the... when they did Fuel. But yeah, all of it is awesome. Going over Bible stuff. Creeping death. Bible. 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Bible. Good Christian boys, right? Did you run the test on Constantine? Oops. That first creed, those are words. You can run the test. Did you run the test? Gotta run the test. But the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints being false prophets. Not following the Book of Mormon, not following Joseph Smith. And if you haven't heard my over 8.5K videos where I talk about why I'm no longer attending church and naked, is because of the West Valley bishop, in which the Strengthening Church Members Committee saw my video on Adam fell that man might be. For women in the audience who did not catch that, let me repeat it for you. Should I go slow? Adam fell that man might be. You've been taught Eve fell, haven't you? So why aren't we going Eve fell that mankind may be? Why is Adam getting all the credit? Oh, he's protecting the honor of his wife and got excommunicated by Heavenly Father. That's why the Danites did it. Bastards. They always blame the women to get away with what they're doing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Thomas B. Marsh, for example, he was not excommunicated. We're doing that video today. Today, this is the 17th. But yeah, Thomas B. Marsh was chased out because he was disturbed by the Danites. And then Brigham Young exalted himself beyond his authority to excommunicate him, and then George Albert Smith in the Valley said, oh, Thomas B. Marsh was excommunicated for defending his wife's honor over stealing milk. And then Hinckley and Monson used the lie to force Mormons to obey them. And so, it is sad, though, that Mormons who do not run the test don't understand that what they're doing is criminal behavior. But nonetheless, this is where Purim kicks in. Is that which you falsely accuse in another is what punishment you get. And so for Mormons, I have seen this with apologists over and over and over again. An apologist who thinks he's come up with something new to show and prove to the world the Book of Mormon is literal history, true Christian. They always get the church in trouble. And all ex-fo nevermos know this, even if they don't know it. John Welch, who started Mormon apologetics at BYU, is the infamous one who thought he read on his mission Hebrew chiasmus in the Book of Mormon. And so that was his whole thing, starting Mormon apologetics. Hebrew chiasmus, it's so true, it means it's all literal history, it's real, Christian. Well, all ex-fo nevermos all know that's the late war. It's plagiarism. That author used chiasmus. And so no, it gets the church in deeper trouble. Because nobody wants to understand Jewish interpretation. Nonetheless, those kinds of things are hilarious. But when it comes to other things, and should we? Yeah, the Danites told Thomas B. Marsh that they, the Danites, are plotting to coup the United States of America in the future. They used their headquarters, their super sacred secret headquarters of Adam on Diamond, as that code word. And so what they did with the Mormon War, which was technically the Danite War, in 1838, was run a test run for this latter-day attack on the United States of America. And so you have election fraud, election tampering, decertification of the election, causing a war because they didn't get their way, and so on and so forth, and burning. They said they're doing it. They weren't blaming Jesus. But that's what they told other people. And so Thomas B. Marsh said, that is a line I cannot cross. And he whistle blew to the governor of Missouri with his affidavit and exposed all this. And so thus we know that Section 117 is a forged document and that Joseph Smith was not the leader of the band. The leader of the band is old and his eyes are grown. And so, when Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. is recorded in The Way to Perfection, talking about Adam-on-Diamond in the future, he puts in Jesus and Lucifer. He does not say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, doesn't say Danites. He says Jesus and Lucifer. He's using the coded communication of the Danites that they would tell other Mormons and other people Jesus. But to those in the group, we're doing it. See? And so Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. didn't know that it was them to cause it. And we know that Joseph Smith knew about it because of the second vision. He adds to Malachi, they that come shall burn them, saith the Lord. Thus, if you're going to say that it's literal Christian history true, Jesus is telling Joseph Smith, an enemy is going to cause Armageddon, not me. But wait a minute, isn't Jesus supposed to come back for Armageddon? Exactly. By using Christian interpretation, you run the test and you find out it's false. Real simple stuff. Nobody does it. So, President and Sister Marquis were called to be mission couple in the Australia mission. And all new called mission presidents have to go to a mission meeting. And in 2020, on March 14th, it was in Las Vegas, Nevada. And Dallin H. Oaks was the speaker. He's the first counselor in the first presidency. So kind of a high position for a low position. Nevertheless, so President Marquis never ran the test his whole life, and thus was found worthy to go on a mission as a mission president. Yep. Not studying gets you rank advancement in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so he believes this guy is true. Oaks, he believes he's true. Living prophet of Jesus. Would never lie to him, never lead him astray. Oops. Didn't run the test, did you? And so he does not get it when Oaks is quoted by him in his mission letter to parents and stake presidents. He quotes Oaks, "This is not the end of the world, but merely a test, a trial run for the second coming. Do you see the Danite influence in Dallin H. Oaks? He's using the cover story of Jesus is to blame. But knowing the church is false, knowing the Danites are the enemy to overthrow the government of the United States of America, he's saying this is it. We're in the latter days. 2020, we're running a test just like the Danites did in 1838, which means 2024 and 2025 is the big show. Wouldn't you know what, I found out about this through Sister Jessica, who likewise believes the church is true, went on a mission, and thus President Marquis was her mission president. And so she posted it on her mission website. Church is so true, Jesus is coming. So sad. She doesn't run the test either. So sad that she's had to be a full tithe payer to go on a mission, to be worthy. So sad that she doesn't understand that that's why the church doesn't want her to work, doesn't want her going on a mission, doesn't want her getting an education, doesn't want her getting a career. Is because she's supposed to be married to a man who's a returned missionary and be barefoot, pregnant, and in the kitchen doing try-on haul videos on YouTube for Travis. It's so sad. But in their ignorance, by having not run the simple Bible test and Book of Mormon test and Joseph Smith test. Joseph Smith does it in the first vision for you. It's the same test. Mormons think they're defending and building up the church, just like John Welsh. And they don't understand that they just busted the church. They don't know about the Danites, and so they don't get it. They don't see what it is they've done. They got Oaks recorded confessing that he is in charge of overthrowing the government, that he put Trump in 2016 so that Trump can be the test run for 2020. That they purposely made Trump lose. And I was wondering about that. Why is Trump purposely trying to lose? If you remember watching the videos back then. This is strange. We knew he was going to do the October surprise on Hunter Biden. Russia, if you're listening, I hope you can find the 3,000 emails on Hunter Biden's laptop. We all knew it was coming. And then October came, and then October went. And when October goes, the same old dream appears, and you are in my arms. Nothing. And I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? And so, yeah, then January 6th. And I went, And then Mitt Romney almost died. See, the devil never supports his own. They use you to profit off of and to get their kingdom back. They use Sister Jessica They use brother and sister Marquis. But they're leaving them all stranded out in the mission field right now. All missionaries, all mission presidents, all around the world, even Mormons. Mormons died in 2020 because of this church. This is what you don't get when you don't run the simple test for truth. You don't see their evil, and yet you leak it to the whole world, or anybody who thinks they're proving Travis that the church is true. Last year, it is just really sad that Mormons refuse to get it. And so yes, they put Trump in. And I've been going over with you 3 Nephi chapter 7. That was supposed to be 2020 and 2021. But because it got changed to a test run, now it's rebooted into a slightly different form for 2024 and 2025, obviously. Because now Trump is president instead of Biden or Harris. After that botched debate, we're gonna cancel Medicaid. I can't remember what he said, but it was something like that. We're doing away with Medicaid. What? And so, yeah, we know exactly what was supposed to happen. Trump was supposed to be assassinated in 2020, which means Trump is going to be assassinated. Because the church can't get their kingdom back if Trump is president or king. The church can't get their kingdom back without murdering and destroying the whole federal government. Because just taking out Trump is not enough. That would be J.D. Vance becomes the president because of the line of succession. And so somehow the church is setting things up to destroy the whole federal government. And Friday, the 14th, Chuck Schumer caved. Again. And now, as a result, the Democrats are furious because Chuck Schumer thought it was more important to keep the government intact rather than stand up against a tyrant who's going against the Constitution. Now, yes, the deep state Dems are also violating the Constitution. Don't go there. This is not a false dichotomy that we have to choose one extremist or the other. There are other options, like following the Constitution. But that's not the point. The point is what is going on right now and understanding it in the context of history and running that test. Trump is not doing his job. He is doing what King Noah did, that Mosiah talks about. And you need to understand this in the context of the latter days. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is forcing this to be the latter days. And if you hadn't been paying attention to my channel and videos, yeah, they are, according to the Jews. And that means that the Jewish Christ is here. Where's Jesus? Jesus is a no-show for this whole thing. And yet, with Oaks getting leaked, he says, if they were true, that Jesus would be here doing all of this. and he's not. It's not Christian of Trinitarian Jesus for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Or what's called non-Trinitarian, which means Jesus Christ is a separate, distinct personage from Heavenly Father with a body of flesh and bone as tangible as man's, which means he follows the laws of physics but doesn't. Which can't be true. You can't have existence and not existence, real and not real, coexisting. It's got to be one or the other. The church says, nope, we're doing both. Automatically false if you ran that test. And so this is where people are having trouble understanding what Trump is doing. People, the deep state Dems, will say he's crazy, he's stupid, he's a poor businessman, doesn't understand what he's doing. They don't get it. Trump is a puppet for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Oaks got leaked. And as such, Trump is following orders. And we've seen that when we found out that Trump is back to calling Putin. Obviously, he's calling Putin. And so when we know that Trump is talking with Putin, and then Trump goes and does something that helps Putin, guess who told Trump to do that? Hello? Don't listen to him when he says he's tough on Putin. When he then goes to Zelensky and says, well, we're cutting off aid unless you surrender. Yeah, he's tough on Putin, all right. Dear God. I don't understand why the deep state doesn't catch this. I think he's siding with Putin. Did you miss Helsinki? You covered it. Did you forget? Oh, dear God. And so, yeah, there's lots of things that people don't get. That's why I've been telling you, pay attention to the stock market. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the major investor in the stock market. It is not just through tithing, guys. You didn't listen carefully to the whistleblower. The whistleblower was only for tithing at Ensign Peak Advisors. They don't handle all sources of revenue, because Nelson came out that very month and said, yeah, we do it with all sources of revenue, not just Ensign Peak Advisors. Get over it. We're doing our interpretation of the parable of the talents. Where's the parable of the talents? Old Testament, you believe? No. I'm surprised you haven't burned your Book of Mormon yet. It's in Matthew chapter 25. In the same context as the latter days. It's a latter-day prophecy. Now he's giving parables after talking about some of the events that would happen in the latter days. When are the latter days? Oakes and Nelson have revealed it to us. Now, you won't listen to me. as a result, Nelson is purposely botching the interpretation to justify hoarding money. You're not supposed to have a monetary system of economy in Zion, and yet that's what the church is building up and preparing for. A monetary system of economy for Salt Lake City, Zion. They're going against scriptures. No duh. We ran the test at the beginning of the video. And they're going to do a lot of other bad, evil stuff too. More detailed than what was given by Mosiah and talked about under the story of King Noah. Trump has been told to stretch it out. And thus, by stretching it out, other people are allowed to protest. Other judges are allowed to say, no, you can't do that. And then certain sanctuary states, like Utah, are not deporting the over 600,000 on Trump's hit list. That's a dead giveaway that Oaks is the puppet master of Trump. And why Trump and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel are not taking my tips seriously. That the church is going to assassinate Trump. They're setting him up. He is worse this time, right off the gate, rather than at the end of 2020. They did this on purpose because Oaks got leaked. Everything that has happened, Oaks orchestrated because he got leaked. How many times do I have to keep repeating this until it catches on? This church is the enemy. They are seeking to destroy you. They get dumb people who don't study and run the test to commit their crimes for them. Right, Mormon YouTube employee? Right, Strengthening Church Members Committee? People's lives are getting ruined by this church. With those who have been sent to attack me, those who have succeeded at some degree got financially rewarded. Those who failed were financially punished. Right, Todd? See, he learned from that 2 years ago. Left me alone this year. Dumbass. He knows when my birthday is, and he still did his attack because the church threatened him. Do you have honor and integrity to do what is right? Or do you not have honor and integrity to be in bondage to a church that is using you for their mission? And so, yeah, MAGA knows the Dems always cave rather than standing up for Americans. And so this week, because Trump signed it over the weekend, we are now going to feel the effects as it gets implemented across the nation. So be on the alert. You have to stand up and have integrity and honor, especially when you're in government. You cannot cave to extortionists. And Chuck Schumer betrayed America. Shameful of him. And to take down the other 10 with him. America is at war. America is getting cooed. It is not the time for cowards. It is a time for patriots during this coup. And yes, patriot has been redefined by the terrorists, insurrectionists. Isn't that interesting? How did I know that that would be the case? Because I told you the doctrine at the beginning of the video. And so, Trump invoked the 1798, I think it was, because he talked about it in his inauguration speech, and he's been talking about it before he got elected, and all that stuff. We knew he was going to do it, and then he did it. But then a federal judge has said, no, you can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? It's in the laws of the land. There's precedent. And so you'd expect that Pam Bondi is then going to appeal and then get it escalated to the Supreme Court, where they'll say, yes, Trump can do whatever he wants. We gave him the gold card. Trump is the original gold card member. Okay? And so part of the stranding of missionaries still continues as our borders are closed. They made that very clear on Fox. Our borders are closed. You have to be screened and approved to come into America now. And so missionaries, I don't know, maybe the church gets the exception because they're the master, the puppet masters. But the church doesn't care about your missionaries. They don't care about the mission presidents. It's all about making money for the church and setting things up to build their kingdom in preparation for when they overthrow the government, which will trickle into the rest of the world to overthrow them. We've seen this with the stock market. Trump issues tariffs, stock market crashes. Not just in America, but all around the world. He is purposely tanking the economies of the world. And he's trying to make the case that he's just redoing the economy. Well, that's not his job, that's Congress that was supposed to do that. But nonetheless, that's what he's doing with tariffs, is tanking the economy to reboot it into a new economy. And this economy, Musk is now seeing the consequences because it's affecting him. Tariffs are hitting Musk for Tesla. And that's why Trump did his little, hey, I bought a Tesla. Check this out. Cool. After Tesla stock was sold by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. See what's going on here? The church ordered Trump to do the tariffs so that the church can profit off of the stock market. But the church wanted Trump to use Musk to do the gutting of the federal government and the stopping of federal funding. But Musk, as a multi-billionaire, is getting hurt because the devil never supports his own. Musk was being used through Trump by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You see how that worked? They use people to do their will. Musk is now the victim, being used as the enemy. And so, yeah, he's now begging Trump to lift the tariffs on Tesla and trying to get other countries to lift the tariffs, because this is what Trump's economy will be a consequence. only American corporations can sell in America. The rest of the world will say, no, you've got tariffs against us, so we've got tariffs against you. And thus nobody will sell outside of their individual countries. That's what Trump is wanting to do. That's what he means by sovereign. And as a result, companies are not going to be allowed to make the money they could be by selling in America and selling in other countries, especially China. China has over 1 billion people who are customers. So if you have a product and you get in asset value of the product, say $10, and 1 billion Chinese people buy your product, that's $10 billion. Yeah, 10 billion for that one product. Who wants to pass up on that and only be able to sell in America, which only has 300 million? Now, do you see why John Cena learned Chinese to apologize to the Chinese government in Chinese? Way back in the first administration of Trump? This is why people, when extorted, show whether they have honor and integrity or whether they don't. And so, no, what Trump is doing is not going to work. In the Book of Mormon, when the Lamanites and Nephites are at peace, they have free trade between the two. But when there's war, nope, trade is cut off. Businesses don't make the money they would make unless there is peace and free trade. And Trump is destroying that because the church wants their kingdom back. And so they need to destroy the economy, destroy the infrastructure, destroy industry, destroy the federal government. And then, with that collapse, the church has hoarded all the money, they have bought up all the land, and now they're in a position of authority in the state of Utah. They've got their capital. They're all set, ready to go. This is why they're using Trump. And then finally, Utah teachers feeling the effects of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints upon our government are finding out that kids are not getting fed. When a child is not getting fed, they're not able to learn as well as they could. When their mommy and daddy are fired from their federal government job, or from a business that has to close down because of the tariff wars, kids suffer. These are consequences. Trump has made it very clear, I don't care. This is a transition. You'll love it, it'll be perfect when it's done. I just told you what the consequences will be under the transition phase if it goes through. And it will never get to that point. There will be too much damage done to America that I can't see them all being Chuck Schumer. Oh, a government is better than no government. I'll just lie down and die so that the government can continue as fascism, because it's better to have a government than no government. Oh my God. But that's what the Project 2025 guy announced over the pulpit. It was written by Oaks. Just let it happen and there will be no bloodshed. But if you don't let it happen, there will be bloodshed. He threatened everybody to go along with his Project 2025. It's all being implemented. So pay attention. This week is going to be wild. Because, we got some stuff coming up. Because Oaks gave us the next death threat for Easter, which means before Easter. So, but yeah, he's using Passover to do that, you bastard. So, heads up and be safe. We need to get to Zion. Church needs to fall. A transfer needs to be made so I can get you to Zion.